Welcome back to Baby Takes. Starting next week, I will have my camera back, so you will not be seeing this Zoom footage of me. Zach will probably still be on Zoom. Doesn't have the access to the camera like I do. But this is a special episode because usually it's football, Nebraska football recently, and that's my expertise. But today we are diving into Zach's expertise, which is wrestling. If you didn't know, Zach is a wrestler up at Central College in Iowa, and he's follows wrestling like it's a religion. He loves it, and since we are Nebraska fans, we do follow Nebraska wrestling and Big Ten wrestling as a whole, because as everybody knows, college wrestling, especially Division I wrestling, goes through the Big Ten pretty much. So Zach's going to do a full breakdown of what's happened in Big Ten wrestling recently and some big news that has happened. But before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe. 99% of the people watching this video are not subscribed. So if you like Big Ten, if you like Nebraska football, if you like Nebraska wrestling, we're going to cover all of it. We got a broad source. We cover fantasy football, as you see my trophy in the back. I won that this year. We cover a lot of different things. So subscribe and leave a like if you're into all that stuff. But without further ado, there was some big duel matches last week. So Zach, take it away with the Big Ten wrestling recap.
Yeah, so last week was the actual first week of what they call official Big Ten wrestling, which would be when the Big Ten teams start to duel other Big Ten teams. So this is last week was the first week of that, and pretty crazy. Few upsets, some big news out there. Probably the biggest, maybe not anymore, since it's a little older, but that is Spencer Lee is out with a torn ACL for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're also missing Nelson Brands this year. He's injured and out for the year. So a lot of people were pretty skeptical on who would come in to Spencer Lee's replacement, because during the beginning of the year, he wasn't wrestling, and a guy by the name of Jesse Ibarra was. He was Iowa's 125 backup for the past few years behind Spencer Lee. Really good wrestler, really great guy. Just, with a guy like Spencer Lee ahead of you, just can't find that spot. He performed at a lot of tournaments like the Southern Scuffle, the Midlands Open, stuff like that. He performed well there, where he could go unattached, but never got to shine at the big level because Spencer Lee was always ahead of him. And then this year, 2020, there would have been 2022 Southern Scuffle. Drake Iowa, freshman out of Fort Dodge, Iowa, comes out and just puts on a show, makes it to the semis of the Southern Scuffle, knocking off some big names, ends up losing to number 3 Patrick McKee from Minnesota. He was up pretty big on him, but then gave up some that 4 back point, which is obviously, him being a freshman in college is new to him. There's a college rule only, 4 points on the back. And then riding time also hurt him in that match. He ended up losing by a point, or 2. I think 2. He ended up losing 9-7 to Patrick McKee. So those 4 back points in that riding time point ended up being pretty big and pretty significant. Went on the backside, battled his way back to get 3rd place in that Southern Scuffle. And then they actually had a duel with Minnesota, and everyone was wondering, do they pull his red, because he's a redshirt, Drake Iowa is. And so they were wondering, do we pull his red shirt this year? Do we save it? Do we let him develop, put in new bars? Since the thing is, you have a guy at 125 that's already good. So why pull a guy like Iowa's red shirt when you can develop him? He could be the next Spencer. He's shown that beating top level guys, and he has shown that a year under the Brands brothers, a year with Spencer Lee, with guys like Murin in there, those lightweights, DeSanto, he could be at the level of 4-time. He could be that level. So everyone was pretty, everyone was wondering about it. And then out of nowhere, Drake Iola comes out on the mat in an Iowa singlet and puts on a show just like he has been doing, and knocks off, at the time, was number 5, Devin Schroeder. That was huge for Iowa. That would have been against Purdue, actually. That would have been Iowa. Purdue would have been his debut. That was pretty crazy. He ended up beating him 6-1, and then did not Austin Santo out there at 133. But at 133, they did put Ibarra out there. But he's just undersized at 133 and ended up losing one there. But Iowa did what Iowa does. They came out 36-4 over Purdue. Some other big matches were Penn State now with.
Hold on. Before you go any farther, you kind of just threw something out there. It seemed kind of wild to me. You said Iola has the potential to be the next Spencer Lee, or he has the potential to be a 4-timer, because there's a difference, right?
I mean, yeah, Iola has performed on the big stage. He was number 1 twice. He's been on multiple world teams. He's won world medals. He's, won Super 32s. He's, he hasn't. He's been runner-up in Super 32s. But, I mean, he's won Fargo titles. He's done it. He's shown what he.
I just think you might be underestimating the level that Spencer Lee has been on. Like last year was the most dominant, him and Gable both.
Yeah.
Spencer Lee was so good that everybody knew, like, zero chance anybody beats him. It's a fight for second place, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Which it makes it even crazier that he was doing this with no knees. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood the level of dominance that Spencer Lee has had.
The thing is, Spencer Lee also got his red shirt pulled his freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up going out and winning the national title. I think if they would have kept Iola's red shirt, and because obviously Spencer's not going to stay out of the room. Like, right. He's not going to be a stranger this year after he gets his surgery. That's not him. He's going to go into, like, I don't know, you probably don't know this. Spencer Lee hasn't had a sweet food of any kind since he was like 8.
Yeah, I have heard that. That's wild to me, but yeah.
Like, we don't even, like, the part of, like, not eating a sweet food since you were 8 isn't even the craziest part for us, because after 4 years, it just becomes habit.
Right.
Like, right after a couple of years, it probably just becomes habit. Oh, I just don't eat that. The crazy thing for us to think about there is being the age of 8 and making the decision of, I don't want to eat a sweet anymore because I want to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
But that's what blows my mind.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you get him in there, you get Ibarra in there, you get Murin in there, and DeSanto in there, and the Brands brothers, and then whoever the heck they can bring in, anyone. And yeah, I think they can develop Iola into something insane.
Yeah.
And of course.
So this could kind of be a transition. So Spencer Lee, 4-timer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. His freshman year gets his red shirt pulled. He goes out and wins a national championship. Iola this year gets his red shirt pulled, but it's a little different because Suriano is back at 125. Do you think there's any chance
that he can beat Suriano?
Yeah.
No.
Suriano's.
Just looking at him right now, I don't think he's at the level. I think if he wrestles one of his best tournaments, he could probably crack that top 4 in the higher ups, like 3rd. If he wrestles one of his best tournaments, he catches a couple guys on an off day, he might make the finals. But other than that, I see him at like 4th on a good day. Regular day, I see him at a 5th or 6th. That's where I see him this year.
So So you're saying he has the potential to be Spencer Lee, but Spencer Lee already started out better than he was.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think he is now, but I think
Right.
Iowa has much better resources than
Right.
Spencer Lee entered the room. I mean, himself, probably the biggest one. So, yeah, I think he just has better resources. But I don't know. And I may be wrong there. But next up, this last week, this is a little bit more recent duel. Would have been Nebraska getting knocked off by Purdue. This is huge. This is Purdue's first win over a top 10 team since 2004. So, I mean, it's big. And obviously, we got to take into account that Nebraska was a little short-handed because of COVID, had a couple guys out. But still, Purdue pulled off some major upsets. And then not only that, I like to look at the guys like the heavyweight that had to, stay away from getting pinned, which I don't think people realize isn't that hard or isn't that easy when you're wrestling a top level heavyweight. It's pretty easy to, you see a lot of pins at heavyweight because those guys are, they're big and they're forces up there, so they can move you around. We'll start it off. Devin Schroeder, the guy that I'll actually beat, does what he does. He's great. He bounced back from that loss really well. He put up a major over Liam Cronin, I think, wrestling there. Didn't say, but don't know, so don't quote me on that. But I do know for a fact that, oh no, it does say, never mind. Liam Cronin did not wrestle. But Schroeder did major the backup 125 for the Huskers. And then 133, it doesn't say, but it does say that Chad Red went out, and so these are just some key upsets for Purdue. But Chad Red got upset at 141, and then at 157 and 165, Purdue took it and led 12-9 here. And then we have number 3. This is probably what really flipped the duel in my eyes. Even though Purdue was leading at this point, I feel that, Nebraska had Labriola, Vins, Schultz, and that's 4 straight, right? So you're thinking, okay, there's 4 wins. We take this. Even if y'all get all those decisions, now we're sitting at 21-12. That's a pretty handily win. But then number 21, Garrett Nigel, I think is his name. Don't know. Haven't heard of this man before. Goes up against number 3 in the country, Mikai Labriola. This guy had a great national tournament last year. It really showed out. Didn't show out too much during the year, but at the national tournament really came out and had a really good tournament. Put up an All-American status for our team and just did a great job. So he's coming in at number 3 this year, but lost in this duel, which really sucks because that, I think, and then you go to 15-9, so you got to get a pin somewhere to tie it, right? And then after that, at 184, Taylor Vins, which we've seen before. You never know what Taylor Vins is going to do. He could either go out there and win a national title, or he could just go 0-2. But he was ring number 10, and he lost to number 23, Max Lyon. He actually lost 7-2, which is not what you like to see. That was only 3 points away from a major. It is not what you like to see, especially when you have 23 versus 10 and you're the favorite. And so now you're looking at 18-9. So now you're 9 points down. This is a two-match deficit here. And then Eric Schultz comes out and gets the decision at 197. So now you're down to 6. You need that heavyweight to get that pin. And like I said earlier, the Purdue heavyweight lost 11-4, which is a decision, which is huge. Didn't even let up any bonus points there and allowed Purdue to come away 18-15, which really showed that, if you show up this year any given day, because, teams are going to be hurting, and you can't use that as an excuse. We saw last week, Michigan and Arizona State had one of the most watched duels, or probably would have been one of the most watched duels this year, but, COVID hit them pretty hard, and they only had 2 or 3 matches that didn't even count as a duel.
And
their matches.
I had no idea. I didn't look much into it. Does that even count for like a duel?
No.
That's what I thought. It was just an exhibition, just a few. Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, that's how it's been with all sports really this year. It's been weird. You see the NBA has it a lot right now. They're just trying to field a team every week, and then NFL, people are going on protocols weekly. You never know. And then now wrestling also is the same thing. When you have to hold a 10 wrestler lineup, it's tough to field your best team possible every week. But that's also just Big Ten wrestling. Obviously, anybody can win unless you're on. Recently Penn State and Iowa looked pretty unbeatable, but
Michigan this year.
Michigan, right?
Look out for them because they're coming. Not that I think they can win a national title, but they might be able to fight in for that 2 spot. I think Penn State's probably going to have it locked up this year. You got a couple losses, pretty big ones for Iowa and Spencer Lee and Nelson Brands. Those are some big points there. And so I think Penn State's got the duel locked up for sure. And then I think they got the tournament locked up as well. Yeah,
Penn State, there's some guys there like RBY, obviously ranked number 1, Nick Lee ranked number 1, Carter Starocki ranked number 1, Aaron Brooks ranked number 1, and then Max Dean is ranked number 2. So they got some studs over there. But I wouldn't count Michigan out.
Hang on, go back to Penn State. A lot of people look over at Penn State that can be a hammer is their 125 Drew Hildebrandt. Yeah. His sister is Sarah Hildebrandt. She's I think world champ. I think she got silver at the Olympics this year. So just a family of wrestlers, and he's real good. He transferred from Central Michigan last year. He was an All-American for Central Michigan, and he went to Penn State. He can be a force at 125.
Yeah, he's ranked number 9 currently. And then I didn't even realize their heavyweight, Greg Kirkliet.
Oh, he's very good too.
He's number 4. Mm-hmm. I think heavyweight's pretty locked up on who's going to win that, but I wouldn't count out Michigan. Michigan's got Suriano, obviously ranked number 1. Then they got Dylan Ragusin, ranked number 8. Micic ranked 4, but Micic can go out there and win any match.
He lost.
Right, he did lose, but Micic has the talent, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Logan Massa's number 6, Miles Amin, number 2, Pat Bruckey. You don't really know what to expect from him all the time, but he's number 8. And then Mason Paris is, I think, cemented his spot as the 2nd best heavyweight in the nation.
Yeah. Something I like to look at here on this Michigan team. So a lot of guys made their debuts last week for Michigan, and that would be so I know for sure Paris and Suriano made their debuts, and Michigan picked up a really big win over Pitt, which is a pretty good team in the ACC, which is in wrestling as well as basketball as well as football, a tough conference. It's a pretty athletic conference down there, and so Pat Bruckey actually, I guess you could call it an upset, beat the number 8 guy Nino Bonacorsi out of Pitt. Mickey Filippi, always really good. Knocked off Jack Medley 5-2. I think Medley wrestled really well there. He's unranked, but I don't know. I think he should be ranked personally. I think he's a really good wrestler.
He might have. What weight was that at?
41.
So Mičić didn't wrestle in that?
No.
Wrestled?
Then 33. Because Mičić is 41. Yeah, I forgot.
Okay, so then Michigan's actual 33 looks like it's Dylan Ragusin.
Yeah.
Ragusin, who's number 8 in the nation. So
Yeah,
Medley probably is the backup.
Yeah, but he's real good. Obviously, looking and seeing that he lost to the number 7 guy 5-2, that's pretty impressive, especially for a backup. Where Pitt really got their number in the game was when number 23 Cole Matthews beat Stevan Mičić 11-5, which is pretty big because not only has Mičić been around the sport for a while now, he's also an Olympian. A guy like Cole Matthews at number 23 to come up and beat him 11-5. That's pretty crazy. And then Michigan forfeited 165. Paris and Suriano both actually scored majors, and then Logan Massa and Miles Amin both got falls, which is big for them. Pins are huge in a duel, scoring big points. Michigan won that 29-12. Something crazy. A lot of people this year. So in the past years, you look at that heavyweight, like you were saying, you think that's all, everyone knows that's pretty much locked up. But this year, Cassiope came in looking different. In the past, he's always been that bigger guy, heavyweight, looking out of shape. And then realized that at the Division I level, at the level he's wrestling at the world level, if you want to be a great heavyweight, you just can't look like that. You got to look like Gable. You got to look like Mason Harris. You got to
look like Wyatt Hendrickson.
Yeah, you got to be, cut like that. And so he did. And he came in and he was down to about, I think they said 245, 250. Looking real good. And so in years past, Gable's kind of, handled him. This year came in.
He got beat though, didn't he?
He did. And it wasn't close. He beat him 13-4. Hang on. No,
Gable. I don't think Gable beat him. I think he just got beat by other guys. I think he got pinned, actually.
And he got pinned, which was, I don't know. He didn't really get pinned. He got caught, which no one gets, right? Technically, like you got pinned because
you get pinned, right?
But he is better than the guy that pinned him. He is much better than the guy.
Okay, well, still.
Yeah, but Gable came out and beat him pretty bad. I forget the exact score. I'm pretty sure it was a major, but it was close to a 10.
Really?
And just toyed with him. But that just shows, the level that Gable is at.
I think, honestly, you look at Gable has the capability and the potential of being the best wrestler of all time. Like, I don't know what he's going to do with the WWE. If he's going to continue his international, I don't know.
WRAP college. This is his last year.
This is his last year wrestling. So he's not going to do international anymore either.
He's done.
Okay. Well, if he did, he'd have the potential to be the one of, if not the best of all time. But yeah.
Absolutely. So Iowa, North Minnesota, two pretty top teams. Alex Marinelli, is a pretty unpredictable guy. He could go out. Well, at nationals, he's pretty predictable. He'll make the quarterfinals and get upset and go down and get fifth. It happens every year, or seventh sometimes. He will always win his last match. That is something he keeps consistent. At nationals, he will always win his last match, but
you never know what's going to happen in between.
Yeah, never know. He'll probably win his first and he'll probably win his last, but in between, you never know what's going to happen. But he beat just a freshman from Minnesota. Not really a big name. He only beat him 5-6.
Yeah, but that's how Marinelli is, right? He just doesn't do anything. He does enough.
Yeah. And then at 174, Michael Kimmerer made his return. A lot of people thought it was weird. So I don't know if you know who Pat Manillo is, but a pretty big wrestling reporter. And out of nowhere, he thinks he has this breaking news. And so he tweets it out everywhere. He's like, breaking news, Michael Kimmerer out for the season with I think he said shoulder injury. And everyone's like, whoa, like, where'd that come from, right? Like, Iowa hasn't came out with this. No one knows this. And then Kimmerer comes out and wrestles. And after the duel, they talked to him. They said, you know, why'd you wrestle? You were out for the season. He said, I was never out. I don't know where he got it. That was kind of out of the blue.
That's weird.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
He said he is hurt, but he said I never even thought about him not wrestling.
Yeah, wasn't it last year? He took some time off too. Like he didn't start right away.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. And then he was the favorite. He was supposed to win it all, and he ended up losing to Starocci, right? Was it Starocci or was it Aaron Brooks? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Starocci. Starocci beat him in the national championship last year.
Yeah. And then so Iowa, obviously, you know, pulled Iowa's red shirt, and then so he comes out at 125, and yet again, it's a tough one, but he loses 8-6 to Pat McKee again out of Minnesota. So that's another one. I think that is so the first time he lost to him, they said it wasn't. I don't think it was his first time, or not the first time. The first time I said he lost to him at the Southern Scuffle, that wasn't his first time wrestling him. I think he's lost to him 3 times now. Wow. All pretty close. So he just seems to have something over him.
Yeah. But even that, you can never really judge that because I think a couple years ago, Chad Red wrestled Minnesota wrestler. What was it? Mitch McKee or Braxton Lee or something like that.
It was Mitch McKee.
Mitch McKee beat him every time.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it was Big Tens or Nationals, Chad Red just comes out and beats him. Like, so yeah. It's tough to beat someone over and over and over again because they're gonna figure something out.
You know, they always say all you gotta do is win enough to get there, and then you just gotta win the right 4 matches in a row. Like everyone can win. Everyone's won 4 matches in a row in their career. You just gotta win the right.
Who was it? A couple years ago, there was like a complete surprise.
There was an 18 seed. I think it was. Sadly, he had to wrestle Zane Rutherford in the finals, but he was a big
what
surprise.
About
he was out of Lockhaven.
Who was the guy that won it last year from Stanford? Was he good throughout the year, or did he wrestle his best tournament at?
He probably wrestled his best tournament, but he was real
He's good. Mikai Lewis.
So that's huge.
Mikai Lewis, when he won it, I think I remember he didn't come out of nowhere, but
he beat Marinelli.
Yeah, he wasn't a super high seed, but yeah, no, you just got to win the right matches.
Yeah, so then that's a big one, and then Um, Northwestern, I think, is where it happened. I don't know exactly where it happened, but Pat McKee ended up actually losing to D'Agostino. Some of the three biggest upsets I see is Mikey Labriola losing, Pat McKee losing, and then Stevan Micic losing, which for the first week of Big Ten wrestling, that's huge. That's a lot. That's three huge upsets. So I think this year, the way it's looking, I think dual rankings will go Penn State, Iowa, Michigan, and then it's kind of a toss up out of there. I'd say maybe Nebraska falls in there, and then like Michigan State or like a Northwest.
Wisconsin's not really. Illinois, I don't know. Rutgers still has Rivera.
Yeah. After about those top three, obviously we saw Purdue knocked off Nebraska. It's anyone's game.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, Big Ten wrestling just getting started. We'll see if we have another wrestling video anytime soon. We'll probably definitely have one around March for the national tournament. We'll probably do something for that. Maybe a Big Ten tournament also. But yeah, hopefully next week we have some big Chubba Purdy news. Hopefully we can break that to you guys.
A lot of people in the Nebraska student directory.
Yeah. So
I think
that's it's a little iffy because yes, he's in there, but that just means that he is academically qualified to enroll.
Weird, because wouldn't he put his legal name?
Well, no, he's in the directory, and that might be his legal name.
It's not.
Okay, well, I don't know. He's in the directory.
There's 3 Chubba Purdys that happen to be in the directory in Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an issue.
Yeah. I guess we don't know, but no, I know he did visit Nebraska today. This is Friday that we're recording this. You'll probably see this on Saturday, but he's visiting Nebraska on the 14th, which is today. Just visited Oklahoma yesterday on Thursday. So there's definitely some competition there. I think Nebraska still pulls it out with that Mark Whipple connection. I hope they do. Sorry, say that again. Yeah, cut
I hope.
Yeah. So excited for that. And we'll break down some more news. We just got a running backs coach. We got some different transfers. We're pretty high up rankings wise in the transfer portal.
Where's that, Bill Bush?
Special teams. Yep. We'll break all the news down next week in the episode. But for now, thank you for listening. If you enjoy this content, let us know. Leave a like, subscribe, and we'll try to do what's best for you guys, obviously. But until next week, that's all I got. Zach, you got anything?
That's it for me. Drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid, baby. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next time.